Welcome to After Dark Creations Art and Review. I'm Jen, your epic fantasy-loving buddy who just can't stop talking about Game of Thrones. Here to share my love of cult, genre films, and television with you. I'll be reviewing films and TV shows, discussing points of interest from storytelling to cinematography and iconic imagery. Then I'll break down how these films inspire and inform my art. Just a heads up, there will be spoilers. This week, I'll be reviewing highlights from the Game of Thrones series, from season 1 to 7. Just a quick note, I will be reviewing all of season 8. I'm just going to wait until the season ends, so keep an eye out for that video. Also, I will be showing stills from the painting process for this piece, because I was live painting it at the San Diego Latino Film Festival. Game of Thrones has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 9.5 out of 10 on IMDb and a 9 out of 10 on TV.com. Based on the best-selling series by George R.R. Martin, the HBO series is created by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Premiering on April 17, 2011, the series is set in Westeros and Essos, with a large ensemble cast that gets killed off with some regularity. The Seven Kingdoms fight for power and control of Westeros. Some of the main cast includes Peter Dinklage, Lena Headey, Kit Harington, Maisie Williams, Emily Clark, Richard Madden, Sophie Turner, John Bradley, James Cosmo, Joe Dempsey, Gwendolyn Christie, Alfie Allen, and Sean Bean in season 1, and many, many more. So, I will not be doing a full recap of the entire series, only giving you highlights and some of my favorite moments thus far. For season 1 was a fantastic season. We are introduced to the Shakespearean in magnitude trials and tribulations of the cast. The introduction of Tyrion and his trial are particularly fun. Daenerys Targaryen undergoes the largest transformation in season 1. She starts out as a victim, but gains much of her own agency and rises to be a powerful queen of the Dothraki and mother of dragons. The effects are well done for season 1, and the characters are compelling and engaging. The death of Ned Stark was shocking. He was our presumed protagonist, but his death is the catalyst for all the future rebellion and change that takes place in Westeros. Season 2. The sex and violence are elevated in season 2. The vile Joffrey becomes king. There are subsequent uprising from Robert Baratheon's brothers, Stannis and Renly. Robb Stark is declared king of the North and seeks revenge for his father's death. The battle at King's Landing and the use of the wildfire is what sticks out in my mind when I think of season 2. We see for the first time the devastating power of the green glowing wildfire. We also get our first look beyond the wall at the Wild North with Jon Snow. We are also introduced to one of my favorite characters, Brienne of Tarth. Season 2 expands the mythos of season 1, building on character development and storyline. Season 3. Okay, I think we all know what I'm going to discuss here. The Red freaking Wedding. This episode was a punch in the heart. Robb, his wife, and Catelyn are all butchered, with poor Arya and the Hound reaching the wedding just in time to see her brother's mutilated corpse on display. This episode is heartbreaking and sets a bleak tone for the rest of the season. Other aspects of note for this season is Daenerys takes charge of the Unsullied army, and her baby dragons grow even bigger and more powerful as she begins to rule Meereen. We are also introduced to the sadistic Ramsay Bolton, who tortures Theon Greyjoy and sacks what remains of Winterfell. Oh, and Jaime Lannister loses his hand and shows he actually has a noble streak with Brienne of Tarth on their little side adventure. Season 4. Joffrey dies, getting a terrible death, but somehow it felt a little anticlimactic. Like, I wanted his death to be worse. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but that's the honest truth. In this season, we are introduced to the Prince of Dorne, known as the Red Viper. His battle with the Mountain is brutal and bloody. Tyrion's trials and tribulations take much of the focus for the season, and you root for his eventual escape. The Hound and Brienne of Tarth have a pretty awesome fight over Arya, who eventually leaves both of them to head to Davos to gain the skill and power of the Faceless Men. Also, the Battle of the Wall ensues with the Wildlings. Season 5. Cersei Lannister's imprisonment and ultimate revenge is the focus of much of this season. Her plotting and her desire for violence is fully realized. She utilizes wildfire to destroy the keep with her enemies trapped inside. The explosion television is pretty epic. This season is also highly controversial due to the rape of Sansa Stark by Ramsay Bolton. I found that scene hard to watch. It left me with a terrible pit in my stomach. The attack on Hardhome was the most savage in the series thus far. For the first time, viewers could see the unwielding destructive power of the White Walkers. This season was all about misery, concluding with the betrayal and death of Jon Snow. This was a hard season to watch. Season 6. Jon Snow is resurrected, thank goodness, and reunited with Sansa. Together, they raise an army to fight the Boltons. The Battle of the Bastards ensues, and it is epic. I have never seen a battle like this for television. The camera stays on Jon, and you can feel the claustrophobia as he's fighting and moving, being crushed with the other soldiers in the mud. This was the best of television. Jon wins the battle, taking back Winterfell. Sansa gets revenge on Ramsay, and Arya takes her revenge as well for the Red Wedding, killing all of the House Frey. The Hound survived the battle with Brienne and is a changed man. We see a ton of character development from him. Daenerys defeats the Slavers and sails her fleet to Westeros. A lot happens in Season 6. It stands in direct contrast to Season 5, which mostly consisted of our protagonists getting pretty beat up. Season 7. This is the lead up to the final season, and many story threads are tightened, and our characters are all brought together. In this season, we learn Ned Stark's secret, that Jon Snow is actually a Targaryen and the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. Tears were shed this season, especially over Hodor. We also learned that Hodor actually means hold the door. Daenerys makes it to Westeros and allies with Jon Snow. She rides to the north to save Jon and his crew, who are surrounded by White Walkers and the Night King. This scene is another heartbreaker because one of the dragons is killed. But sadness gives way to fear as the Night King resurrects the dragon and destroys the wall. I am so excited for Season 8. The special effects here are stunning. Again, this is nothing like we've ever seen before for television. The production quality is film quality. It is staggering. Let me know what are your favorite moments from the past 7 seasons of Game of Thrones. I'd love to discuss it in the comment section with you further. Please share your Game of Thrones art with me using the hashtag AfterDarkReview. Please like and subscribe for more content like this. Just a side note, if you're in the San Diego area, Atiba Royster and I are curating a Game of Thrones themed art crawl at Subterranean Coffee Boutique in Hillcrest and North Park. The show begins April 6th and runs till May 3rd. All art is now available for purchase and on view. So if you see this video during April and the very beginning of May, check it out. Thanks so much, and let's keep it spooky, my friends.